Bedard Patriots podcast with Nick Cattles.
He's Greg, I am Nick, and we are part of the CLNS Media Network. We are live on this Tuesday. Thanks for joining us, and this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Greg, let's start with Bill Belichick. Yes, I'm going to ask you a Bill Belichick question to start because we just found out moments ago that Belichick has officially advanced as one of the 12 coaching finalists for the Hall of Fame. I would imagine, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I would imagine he has to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, right or wrong?
Okay. Okay. Yes, Bill Belichick is 100% a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, do I think it's 100% slam dunk that he will be elected in his first year? No, I don't. Now, I am not a Hall of Fame voter. I forget off the cuff exactly what kind of percentage of the vote do you need. I know it's pretty high that you need. Like once you get to, they have different rounds where they eliminate people, like if they don't get a high enough percentage, and then at the end, the guy there's basically a secret ballot, from what I understand from the past. There's a secret ballot. Nobody really knows which way it's going to go. A lot of times they know, if there's not much discussion, there are players that have gone in where it's basically their presenter says about a sentence, and that's it. There's no discussion, and everybody knows they're a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think we're going to get that with Bill. I think there is going to be a discussion. Do I think it's fair? No. I would say that, I think he deserves a full discussion. Do I think it needs to be lengthy? No. Do I think what happened at the end in New England, the cheating scandals and things like that, will cause some people in that room who've been around a long time, who some of them have a checkered past with Bill, could some of them hold out? Yes. Do I think it's going to be enough at the end of the day to keep him out as a first ballot Hall of Famer? I do not. I think he will go in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he deserves to, and I'm hoping that's what we see.
Yeah, hopefully the crybabies, the petty people in the room, get over their ish quick. Guy won 6 Super Bowls as a head coach. He's won 8 in the NFL. Enough is enough. He's a first ballot guy. There's no possible shot he should have to wait another year to get in. And by the way, that number is, Greg, I checked it while you were talking. A coach needs at least 80% of the vote to make it to the NFL Hall of Fame. So he needs 80% of the vote. That rule applies to coaches, contributors, and seniors who are voted on as a combined group. So looks like he needs 80% of the vote. All right, let's get to the Patriots now.
If I recall correctly, I think there's 50 voters. I could be wrong. It's changed so much over the years. So that means he needs 40 votes to get in. I think he gets that.
I mean, he should. Whether he gets it or not, he absolutely should. And there are 50 people, Greg. I just looked that up as well as you were talking. So he needs 40 votes out of the 50. He should easily get that. All right, let's talk about the football team now, the current football team. I know there are going to be some people, and I saw some of this stuff, shocker, on Twitter, that, some people are like, oh, well, the Patriots, yeah, they've won 4 in a row, and they've won, 3 straight on the road, but look who they played, and big deal. Yeah. They beat Tennessee, and they stink, and they beat New Orleans, and they stink. How impressive to you is 3 straight wins on the road, no matter who you're playing at the NFL level?
I'm fairly impressed. I will say the only thing that gives me pause a little bit, Nick, is as opposed to most 3-game road winning streaks, if you're able to do that, I think especially in the third one, this one, I think the Patriots really benefited by the Mike Vrabel, Tennessee coaches, executives, revenge game sort of factor, which we know now after the fact, after hearing from the players, it was indeed a factor. And
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a factor. It was a factor. And so that gave them, most of the time, 3 games on the road. Maybe you're playing a really bad opponent like the Titans, who just fired their head coach and are trying to figure out how to, just advance the ball forward. You might be lay a bit of an egg. And I would say the defense probably did for about a half. But I think the Patriots had some motivation that helped them in this last game, but that doesn't change the fact that, yes, I'm impressed anytime a team wins 3 games straight on the road, including going to Buffalo, including to go into the Superdome, which is not an easy place to play, even though the Saints aren't that great, and that the Patriots have, now won, 4 games in a row. That's impressive. I really don't care who it's against. You see it every week in the NFL. Anybody can really beat anybody, regardless of records, regardless of what's going on with the teams. These are professionals. They might not look like much one week, but all of a sudden the next week they look like world beaters. It happens all the time to all the teams. Just look at, Green Bay going to Cleveland and losing, for one instance. But I'm impressed with the Patriots. I was impressed with the 3-game winning streak and this win. And I am impressed that they are 5-2 and in first place after 7 games. I did not think this was remotely possible. I don't care what the schedule looked like.
Yeah, let me put it this way. Logistically, number one, not the easiest thing. I mean, they played Sunday night. They get home very, very early morning on Monday. That throws off your entire week. You go down to New Orleans, which is not an easy flight. It's not a short flight. It's a 12 p.m. local kickoff for that New Orleans game, which is a little bit funky and clunky. And then you've got to go back to Tennessee after flying back home, then fly back down to Tennessee for another 12 p.m. local kickoff, which again is a little bit weird. So I think the logistics of the trip should be mentioned. The Buffalo Bills are a contender, a Super Bowl contender. They're part of the 3 teams that you beat in a row. That you can't just forget about that context. And what's truly funny to me is before the season, it's so kind of outrageous where as the season moves along, people just start moving the goalposts if the team is maybe exceeding expectations. It's not like this football team is a great football team. It's not like the Patriots should be going on the road and just easily checking the boxes of 3 straight road games.
Yep.
Do we forget what this team looked like the last 2 years? It's truly amazing where it's just flip the switch and you win a couple games and now everybody's like, oh yeah, 3 in a row on the road, big deal, Tennessee and New Orleans. Like, how many of those people that are saying that right now were sitting there doubting the Patriots before the season, or talked about how bad the roster was, or they're not going to fix this, they're not going to fix that. Now all of a sudden they're flipping it and going, yeah, but look at who they beat. Give me a break. It's a joke. All right, let's talk about the game on Sunday. Here's my biggest concern about Sunday, and I talked at length about this on my latest Locked On Patriots. Drake Maye's decisions to scramble. And obviously, we'll get into how great Drake has been, and we all talked about it. I mean, the guy's been great. He's an MVP candidate. We've waxed poetic. We continue to throw bouquets at his feet. He was, again, really good against Tennessee. But, Greg, watching the game and like a hardo, grinding the all-22 this week, I saw a number of plays where Drake decides to scramble when he has open guys. And the one that bothered me the most was third quarter, right out of halftime, your first offensive possession. It's a 1st and 10. Drake is under center. You run a play-action bootleg. And Efton Chisholm and Hunter Henry give up a pressure on Drake's right side. And there's a point here where Drake can step up into the pocket and make a throw. Mac Hollins is open. The play is there to be had. It reminded me somewhat of the play against Miami when Drake had the pressure to his right, and instead of scrambling, he kept his eyes downfield, stepped up, took care of the football, and found Ramondre Stevenson. But instead, this time, he takes off and he runs. Now, he gets 6 yards, but this is also the play where Drake Maye smacks the back of his head on the turf. And it's one of those things where I'm just watching going, man, oh man, I love you, Drake. You've been excellent. But if you remain a passer, which has been an emphasis, if you remain a passer and you find Mac Hollins, you don't smack the back of your head against the turf. And you probably get more. You definitely get more than 6 yards. Was this as prevalent to you as you watched?
Absolutely, Nick. Throwing the ball, I thought Drake Maye was outstanding in this game. I didn't have him for, 1- throw. I think he had there was the throw on the sideline to Kyle Williams, who didn't run a great route, that the ball could have been a little bit better. I want to say that was the play that TreVeyon Henderson gave up a pressure, which is another reason.
It was a late pressure. It was a late pressure.
Yep, late pressure, and another reason why he's not playing, which I'm sure we'll mention at some point. But when I graded him, you may or may not be surprised to know that Drake, at the end of the day, did not come out highly graded by me in this game. And the only reason was what you're talking about. There were way too many instances in this game where he had options and took off and took unnecessary hits. And, and not all of them. I mean, sometimes, he makes a 19-yard scramble, which he didn't need to do. I'm not going to mark him down on that. But there are others like that one where that he gets hit. I'm putting that quarterback hit on him. And in this game, I had 1 sack and 3 quarterback hits on Drake Maye. And there were multiple instances in this game where he did that. First quarter, 9:28. Drake Maye scrambles up the middle to Tennessee 16 for 11 yards. He had Diggs and HOF'er open, but runs. Takes a shot to his left thigh. That same drive, Drake Maye sacked for 0 yards. Doesn't really take a hit. And I didn't mark him down for this play, but he could have quickly thrown. It was one of those boot actions, and he's got Hunter Henry. He's got a couple steps on the guy, and it's not a glorious play, and nobody's really open on the play. But, instead of throwing it to Hunter Henry or just chucking it into the seats once he gets outside the tackle box, he doesn't take much of a hit, but I've seen him take hits on these types of plays, and he takes a 0-yard sack. I got to go back and look at it, Nick, because I want to say, because I think now he's been sacked like 20-something times this year, low 20s. I think it was 18 coming into this game, and probably 10 of them were for 0, 1, or 2 yards.
Yeah.
And maybe I can get Giardi to ask Drake Maye this today, or Josh McDaniels on Thursday. But I want to know why Drake Maye's not throwing these balls away, because at one of these points he's going to get croaked on one of these. But anyways, second quarter, 11:43, Drake Maye scrambles up the middle for 19 yards. Diggs and Hollins are wide open on the play.
Yep.
Takes a low shot at the end. 6:22, Drake Maye scrambles left end, pushed out of bounds for 4 yards. That was a good scramble down to the Tennessee 7. No problem with that. He gets out of bounds, doesn't take a hit, didn't have anything on the play. 1:48 left. Drake Maye scrambles up the middle for 9 yards. Stevenson is open for a check down, but at least Drake Maye slid on this play. So that was good. Didn't mark him down for that. Third quarter, you talked about it. Hollins is open. It was kind of a weird, slow developing play. It was one of those max protection plays. The protection was fine. Even after he gets concussed, and I don't know if we want to talk about what kind of concussion evaluation keeps a guy out only 3 plays after he bangs his head on the turf and he shakes his head like, woo, I got my bell rung. And he's only out for 3 plays. 4:40 left in the third quarter. Drake Maye scrambles left tackle for 3 yards. 3 guys are open. He's tackled hard and low. Fourth quarter, in a 31-13 game, and I know it was 3rd and 3 around midfield, and he dove for the sticks, but there was a blitz. The protection was fine. Stevenson picked up a blitz. It was fine. The protection was fine. Diggs is open in the middle of the field. Maye lays out for a first down like it's the Super Bowl's on the line when it's 31-13. So that's just a sampling of, yes, I'm bothered, Nick. I'm very bothered by it. I'm sure the coaches are. Even Mike Vrabel has said, football is 100% injury sport. If he continues to play like this, he will get hurt. He will miss portions of a game or multiple games. You see it across the league. Look at Jaden Daniels. Look at all these guys. About the only guy Patrick Mahomes has, been injured in the past due to his excessive running around and keeping plays open. Not that Drake's really doing that at this point. But we all know the Patriots, the way they are currently constituted, if you have visions of them, possibly playing for an AFC championship and going to a Super Bowl, and, jockeying for seeding. Right now, they're the number 2 seed. And I don't think any of these at this point are outrageous, especially with the Patriots to this far having the greatest injury luck in the league. But if Drake Maye continues to play like this, like he did on Sunday, which I think was the worst example of him doing this season, he will get injured. The Patriots will lose games, and all that stuff you're dreaming about will not happen.
It's not about just him running. He can run, and you want him to run at times and use that athleticism when teams are in man coverage and he feels like he can pick up 10, 15 yards. It's not about running. It's when to run, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, it's protecting yourself when you run.
Yep.
And I thought, there were a number of times where he slid, which was nice to see. But you said 19 yards, I had it for 21, whatever it was. That running play that he had, I put in parentheses in real time, slide, bro. Because that kind of hit you can't take. So it's when to run, the balance of it, because he is picking up positive yardage and you don't want to take that fully away from his game.
Yep.
There's the balance he has to figure out, and he's got to be able to protect himself better. Other than the scrambling, I agree with you. I thought he was pretty damn good, but that is a concern. That is a concern. All right. Before we get to 2 more questions offensively and then jump to the defense, I did want to ask you, what changes did you see offensively that helped the run game, Greg?
They went to a lot more 11 personnel in this game, which is 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. I'm not exactly sure the run pass splits. I don't, have it in front of me right now when they did that. Even though I do have it somewhere. So in 11 personnel in this game, first of all, they used it about 55% of the time. They averaged 7 point yards per play in 11 personnel. This is going into this game, Nick, 11 personnel with the 3 wide receivers has been their best offensive personnel set pretty much by far.
Yeah.
I do think they like to, that, and that's mostly passing situations where, Drake Maye's doing, Drake Maye things. Their success rate in 11 was 60%. Their EPA per play was 0.39, which is good. We saw their 12 personnel usage, which was really one of their big, with the 2 tight ends, HOF'er and Hunter Henry, went down to about 13% in this game. Even though it was pretty successful for them. They put the fullback, Westover, on the field a lot more. Their 21 personnel usage with the 2 backs jumped to about 27%. Wasn't highly effective for them. I'm not a big Westover fan. If they think they need to do this, they need to go out and get a real fullback. Out of 11 personnel, they ran 71%. They ran 29% of the time, past 71. 12 personnel was similar. 21 personnel, they ran 77% of the time, past 24% of the time. I think, and also, last week, the run game probably hit rock bottom. I think we would agree with that, Nick. And it was a rough game for the tight ends blocking. And what you will notice is against the Saints, Hunter Henry was asked to run block 26 times in that game. This Sunday, he was asked to run block 12 times. It seemed like they did not want Hunter Henry involved as much in the run game. I don't know if that's just performance or, as we talked about last week, you have to be concerned about him wearing down over the course of the season if you're asking him to do all these things. So I think they changed up the way they did things in the run game. I think it was largely successful. I also thought the run blocking, for the most part, was a lot better. Even saw Jared Wilson gave him a plus for a second level run block at one point, which, when I actually, Jared Wilson, I gave him, he He tied with Morgan Moses with 3+ plays on the offensive line, run second level, a pass block, and also another run block. So that's a lot for Jared Wilson. So better execution, a little bit different personnel, seemed to unlock a few things for this rushing offense.
Yeah, that second level block was terrific that you're talking about regarding Jared Wilson. And of course, the Patriots did sign Thomas Odukoya, the tight end, to the practice squad. So you wonder, maybe after he gets a little caught up on the playbook, maybe he's a replacement for, Westover. Maybe they're looking at it saying, well, he could do a better job of blocking. I will say that the Patriots did not take Austin Hooper off the field when they were throwing the football and asked him to block and pass protect, and that didn't go well. I saw at least 2 or 3 times where Hooper just did not do well protecting Drake Maye. All right, we got to get to a couple more things here, but first, Greg wants to tell you about PrizePicks.
You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. I love sitting down with the app during the game. Also, I get my picks in to Amit, who posts them on my Twitter before every Patriots game. And damn it, we didn't get the TreVeyon Henderson breakout game that we were supposed to get because I was so close to hitting big this week. Make sure you know that today's the last day, I think. Steph Curry, free square. He just needs to score 1 point and you get a free win. All you do is need to get one more winner. That's it. And you can cash in. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You want to pick more or less on Drake Maye's passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns, and maybe how many times he gets hit. Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup, only on PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right.
And for those listening, we ask that you subscribe to the podcast, like, and leave a review. For those watching the show on CLNS, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel. You can find our show and a lot of other great Patriots content. Please make sure also to turn on your notifications and check out the big boy along with Mike Giardi at BSJ. $50 for the year. Tremendous Patriots coverage and really tremendous coverage of all the Boston teams. Check it out. $50 for the year. Before we move to the defense, Greg, what'd you think of the offensive line?
I thought the offensive line was decent. I mean, obviously, look, Jared Wilson had some issues in this game. I don't have like a huge problem with it. I mean, the pressure rate was a lot. Now, again, we illustrated that some of this was on Drake Maye, but as a whole, including Drake Maye, who led the team with 4 total quarterback pressures, by the way. Jared Wilson gave up the 2.5 sacks, but not, really anything else. Mike Owenu gave up 3 pressures in this game. The pressure rate I had was 43%, which is a lot. There's a lot of what's going on right now, and it just speaks to how good Drake Maye has been. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The pressure rate has been high for a while, and the thing is like you see some of the byproduct of that, Nick, with I think some of his leaving the pocket early. I think that's a byproduct of him being sped up a little bit. But then when it comes to him throwing the football, he's not sped up. It doesn't make any sense. Any other quarterback, including Drake Maye, that including Tom Brady, that I've covered, if the pressure rate is like above 40%, like I'm pretty much expecting you not to be that good as a quarterback, and I'll excuse it. But he throws the ball lights out. It does not make any sense in my very simple computer that's in my brain. But I thought the offensive line was okay. I mean, I think that Wilson obviously had the 2.5 sacks, and everybody could pretty much see that. Garrett Bradbury, I think again struggled in this game, mostly on the ground. He factored into one of the sacks. It was a pretty good game by the Titans that I thought should have been straightened out a little bit more. Will Campbell almost got Drake Maye decapitated in the fourth quarter. wasn't sure why he didn't pick up that blocker. Mike Vrabel sounded like that should have been blocked up, he said on Monday. He was decent. Onwenu was pretty good. Every game it's like Mike Onwenu has like 3 to 5 minus plays, and like that's it. But a lot of them are catastrophic, as we've illustrated over this season. Not so much this game. I thought Morgan Moses was outstanding. Had his best game by far as a Patriot. So, pretty good all in all, but they got to watch the pressure rate. If this keeps up, Drake's going to start to continue to play a little more wild than you would like.
I thought Wilson and Campbell struggled a little bit against Tennessee. I thought Bradbury, like you said, was up and down. I thought Onwenu was pretty good, especially considering the way he's looked. You mentioned those catastrophic plays. I agree with you. Morgan Moses, I thought, was really good. I thought he was clearly the best offensive lineman on Sunday for the Pats. And I thought in the first half, I didn't see anything. I didn't see any pressures. I didn't see him give much of anything up in the first half. I think I had him down for like 1 pressure. Will Campbell I had down for about 4 and a sack. I had Wilson down for about 3 or 4 and a couple sacks. Bradbury had a couple of pressures, and I think Onwenu gave up 1 or 2, and one of them was a quick pressure. And Campbell gave up 2 or 3 quick pressures, which he's got to get that out of the game. Like 2.5 seconds or less, you've got to clean that stuff up. And a lot of the things, Mike Vrabel brought this up, is the gaming up front. And I'm just going to give you a little quick preview here, folks. If the Patriots offensive line's having some issues with games from the defensive fronts, Cleveland's going to be a big challenge, because I just watched Cleveland this morning, and Jim Schwartz is in his bag. TreVeyon Henderson, do you see anything changing anytime soon, Greg, for him right now?
I don't. And, I haven't asked anybody about this. Vrabel was asked about it yesterday and gave his answer. But this is where I was Sunday night, when people were asking me about it. When a player doesn't play, there is a reason for that. And TreVeyon Henderson only played 9 snaps. I was pretty surprised that once the game was in hand, it was almost all Terrell Jennings out there, and not TreVeyon Henderson. He did get a couple of consecutive carries at one point. But this tells me that the coaches do not have a lot of confidence in him right now. I think the biggest thing is his pass protection, which continues to be an issue. If you're going to be a back like TreVeyon Henderson, which is more of a pass back offensive weapon, line him up at receiver, do some different things with him, sort of the Jahmyr Gibbs, not Jahmyr Gibbs right now, but Jahmyr Gibbs when he was a rookie, that sort of role. In this offense, you got to be able to pass protect, and it's been a consistent issue. It was an issue on Sunday, as we talked about, with the late pressure that he gave up to Drake Maye. Good initial hit, which we've seen this a few times with him, where he gets it initially. To me, Nick, this is the difference between blocking in the NFL and blocking in college. Those initial hits, get you, highlights on YouTube films. But, most of those guys, if you're talking about linebackers in college, you probably know this better because you watch more college football than I do. Linebackers in the college game are glorified safeties. They're small, not very big, which matches up well with Henderson. In the NFL, you're taking on men and that are a lot bigger than TreVeyon Henderson. And, he hasn't quite solved that yet. His running is also an issue. Ran in the backs of some guys this week as well when he did get a chance. So, right now, it's just the game's it's still too fast for him, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of talk, and I'm sure, I already know today on Felger and Maz, this is probably going to be a topic about how, the rookie class is low-key not good, which I will vehemently disagree with when I get on there. But just because he's not doing much 7 games into his rookie year does not mean he is not a good player as a second-round pick. And if you're going to compare him to a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, who was like a top 10 pick or whatever he was, 11th overall, it's just ridiculous. And so, look, He's not in a good place right now. Like Mike Vrabel said, they're going to need TreVeyon Henderson. And I expect TreVeyon Henderson to hit at some point. With young players, you just never know. Look at Drake Maye. After week 1, a lot of us were scratching our heads like what's going on? Why is he playing like this? Why is he playing like he did last year and in the preseason? And then suddenly the next 5 games, he's in the MVP category, which none of us thought was possible. And like I said at the time, after week 1 with Drake Maye, I said, look, he's a little sped up right now, and he will be sped up until he's not sped up. And you can't predict when that's going to happen. But at some point in time, it will happen for TreVeyon. He's got to practice better. He's got to do more in practice to earn the coaches, to earn the playing time, which will help him get settled a little bit more quickly. But until then, I'm not going to rip the kid. These things happen. Whatever.
Shout out to Ramondre Stevenson, who has been very good against the blitz, especially the past couple of weeks. His pass protection has been on freaking point. And by the way, this doesn't mean much to anybody, but I want to get this point out there because I watched the All-22, and it's a point that jumped out at me. You know, if you want to talk about running backs blocking, look at that Tennessee game. And I thought Tony Pollard 2 or 3 times made some terrific blocks, and Tyjae Spears made a block or 2, but Tony Pollard specifically, he was really good. I think it was Christian Ellis. It was one of the linebackers, either Ellis or Gibbons.
Ellis. Yep.
Yeah, he tried a blitz, and Pollard blasted his ass.
Stoned him.
And then you had the screen pass where Craig Woodson almost read that, and Tony Pollard just sacrifices his body and jumps and gets Woodson out of there, and it picks up 13, 14 yards. So
holy hell on that block. Like you couldn't really see it on the TV copy, and they didn't like really replay it, but you see it on the All-22. I was like, I noted it during the game. I think I even tweeted about it because I did go back. I rewound the TV copy. I'd be like, did I just see what I think I saw? And holy hell. And when I was watching the film, I was like, if I'm Josh McDaniels, I'm totally stealing that play and using that. It was almost like using the running back as like a lead blocker in the screen, which was pretty nifty. And I would like to lift that and use it later.
So when we talk about running backs, we talk about TreVeyon Henderson. This is why Greg and we talk about the other parts of just, hey, can he run the football and catch the football? The blocking's a part of it. And, you know, I gained a lot of respect for Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. Tyjae Spears is not a big dude. If I'm a coach and I'm watching that film, I go, you know what? I wouldn't mind Tony Pollard on my football team because he plays hard and he's throwing his body around and helping his teammates. I would have to imagine that Mike Vrabel's a Tony Pollard fan. All right, we'll get to the defense in a minute. Don't forget CLNS. We have the All Access on CLNS, behind-the-scenes content, the NBA History Channel, Bruins Ringside, and also don't forget PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. How concerned, Greg, are you with the start on the defensive side yet again against Tennessee?
Yeah, pretty concerned, Nick. I think it's becoming increasingly evident that this team has a tough time getting pressure with just 4. And probably the biggest thing is their coverage in the middle of the field is just it's terrible. It really is. And there are also some problems on the edges in zone. The way I look at this team at this point, and maybe you can help me remember because you have a much better memory than me. There was one year where, was it like 2011? No, because McCourty was still at running back then. It might have been 2012. So McCourty went back to free safety. He started at cornerback. Remember, he was really bad because they started to play more man coverage. With the Patriots, and that wasn't really Devin McCourty at cornerback, and so they moved him to free safety where he stayed for the rest of his career, and he was really good. But there was a point in time, I think, right around when they acquired Aqib Talib, which led into Browner and Revis, which led into Steph Gilmore. But there have been for a long time, the Patriots, they played some man, but really they were predominantly zone team. And at some point in time, the quarterbacks just became too good in this league, even the bad quarterbacks in this league, where they were just picking the Patriots apart. I mean, remember, like Dan Orlovsky had like 400 yards against the Patriots in like where the Patriots eventually won the game, but Dan
Orlovsky catching a stray from Bedard.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, he cooked. That was the year Peyton Manning was out, and but what have you. Anyways, my point is, this Tennessee coaching staff, which is predominant on the defensive side of the ball, they certainly played some man, and the Patriots have played, a decent amount of man. But it's not really their bread and butter. Their bread and butter is calling sort of different types of zones and, using that to their advantage. I think their system is a little antiquated. I also think it's a bit of a mismatch for their personnel. And this is very similar to the offensive line. And, how do you run the ball with this offensive line? You really want to get the wide zone and do that stuff, but it doesn't really fit everybody on the offensive line. Like Michael Winu's not a zone blocking offensive lineman. He's not. Morgan Moses really isn't. Will Campbell's more of a power guy. So how, Bradbury can do that. Bradbury can move. Jared Wilson can move. But it's sort of like a island of misfit toys. What I see on this defense is you have 3 excellent man cover corners, and Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, when he's focused and interested, and Marcus Jones. But the problem is, if you play man coverage, 2 other people have to play man coverage. Who's that going to be? Is it going to be Christian Ellis? Is it going to be Jack Gibbons? Is it going to be Marte Mapu? Maybe, but Mapu had a decent game this week, but he can't play on every down because he gets run over in the run game. Then who's playing man coverage at safety? Is it Jalen Hawkins? Is it Kyle Duggar? Is it Craig Woodson? And so you have to play man coverage on 5 different people. So how do you deal with that? And I think the Patriots are still working that out. But Nick, I think if this team's going to go anywhere and do anything, and they come up on defense, and their DVOA rankings are still really low on defense, pass defense. They're one of the worst in the league. I think they're going to have to chuck what they've done in the past, and they're just going to say, we're just going to play man. And, if we get beat, we get beat. Maybe try to find a better, cover linebacker or cover safety, what have you, before the trade deadline. But right now, they're just getting killed in the middle of the field. And it's not, a lot of it is zone. A lot of it is, bad pass drops. But they're just getting killed. I mean, Spencer Rattler for a full game and then Cam Ward with a full half. Those guys look like Pro Bowlers against the Patriots, on not very good teams. And that just can't continue.
Felt a little better about the defense, honestly, watching the game over again for a few reasons. You can check out those reasons. Lockdown Patriots. That's my big tease because we got to get out of here soon. Good, bad, and different play. What'd you see, Greg, from the guys? You want to run down a few guys you thought played well, a few guys that you thought didn't play well?
Yeah. Let's say Drake Maye, the quarterback from the pocket, phenomenal. Drake Maye, the runner, not as much of a fan. Ramondre Stevenson, good, check mark. Demario Douglas, up. Stephon Diggs, up. Austin Hooper, tremendous catch. Mac Hollins, up. Morgan Moses, up on the offensive line. That was it for that. Kaylavon Chason, excellent. Harold Landry, great. Kyrus Tonga, phenomenal in just 18 snaps. I don't know why he's still just getting 18 snaps. I don't get it. He's great every week. Let's see. Christian Barmore, up. Milton Williams, up. I mean, pretty much the interior defensive line, every one of them, like, grade highly for me. Pretty much anybody you could say. I mean, Corey Durden made a play on his 11 snaps. And
Farmer had a pressure.
Yeah, he had a +1. Marte Mapu, thumbs up. Marcus Jones, thumbs up. And that's it. Guys who were not so hot. Oh, let's shout out Josh Dobbs for his 1 pass attempt, because that was freaking awesome and important in that game. Yeah, his rating was off the charts, considering that was his 1 pass back. Guys not so hot. TreVeyon Henderson. Garrett Bradbury. Will Campbell. On the edge, nobody. Linebackers, Jack Gibbons, Jelani Tavai. Cornerback, Carlton Davis, and Craig Woodson for the touchdown. I kind of liked how the Titans, it's almost like they lifted the Pop Douglas touchdown against the Saints that started off that game, ran the same play just about, and Craig Woodson got spun around like a top, like Jonas Sanker did for the Saints, and touchdown. But hey, he's a rookie. Those things are going to happen. He's smart. He'll learn from it, but that was a nice play.
All right. He's Greg. I'm Nick. Greg's going to get to Felger and Maz. We out later on this week. Check out our preview. We'll have one for the Browns Patriots. I'm just going to tell you, this one's not going to be easy at all. We'll talk about it later in the week. We'll see you then.